A step up in the second half was definitely needed from Chelsea against Newcastle, and a step up was given for Thomas Tuchel's men. It seemed, Janusz, just like that, they were 3-0 up.
Yeah, I tell you what, that halftime talk, and you expect that from Thomas Tuchel, right? Because in the first half, it wasn't impressive at all. That is for sure. It was a different energy when they came back after halftime. Did they not? I think in the first half, they've had all kinds of problems getting behind the back four of Newcastle, which, by the way, for Chelsea, it's kind of normal at times, right? But, I was looking at that game, and this is your typical Chelsea in a way. I had this game for 1-0 because they can find ways to win, right? Or to grind. I mean, defensively, they are superb, right? I mean, they've conceded 3 goals. That's best in Europe, together with Napoli. When you're talking about the biggest leagues in Europe, of course, and there's no coincidence there, right? So even if they have an off game, which they did, and let's not forget, obviously, I mean, no Timo Werner, no Lukaku, Mason Mount last moment, not even a squad, not sure really what that was, if he was rested or picked up an injury, no Kovacic, which makes a difference. All of a sudden, Barkley is looking good when he comes in as well. So, with every piece that falls away, somebody fills in. And it's not necessarily that they play incredibly well, right? But they are a unit. They truly understand what Thomas Tuchel wants from them, what he needs. They are very much accountable for what they do or do not do. Hudson-Odoi is a perfect example of a player that just, he looked good, midweek. But I remember before the game, Thomas Tuchel said, well, is this a chance for him? Yes, but he's going to have 100 good games before I even consider him a player, for starting a spot as well. So today he was absolutely outstanding as well. So I think it's more about the manager. It's more about the blueprint. It's more about the system. And, I can't help to think, and this is not my shout, but, as a former player, I look at a game like this and it feels like a mark of a champion, these sort of games. And we've seen that from Chelsea, haven't we, right? I mean, not always looking great. They're not always flying high like Manchester City or Liverpool at some games. We'll get to those shortly, I'm sure, okay. But, sort of that consistency throughout, where it's not absolutely beautiful, but it's never so bad where you feel they're out of games and they're going to be losing points. So, they're opening up a bit of a gap there on their rivals.
Yeah, so as you say, it's not Manchester City and Liverpool just looking out for one another. They've now got Chelsea to worry about as well, and that definitely shows to be true after today's performance. That's 10-0 in their last 2 Premier League games. If you combine the 2 results together, we must talk about Reece James, though. Those 2 goals, almost an exact replica of one another.
Yeah, left foot, right foot, no problem, right? First half volley, and in the second, obviously from that distance, he had to react quickly. Look, I'm sure I'm not the only one that sees what sort of player he already is, and he can be. I don't know if he's driven by the competition that he's got in England as well, right? I mean, I'm looking at, Trippier, Kyle Walker, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Reece James. You can't get yourself through, and he's such a good player. I was joking the other day because Matty Cash chose Poland over England at right back. You can understand why, and that's just a joke, because I don't know what his intentions were. I think people in Poland are happy with that, but obviously there's so much competition there, and there's so much competition even within Chelsea. If you consider Aspie, who can play as a wing back, who can play in the back as well. So look, I think he's an outstanding player. I think we knew it. It's difficult to jump into that lineup on consistent basis, and I think he's working very, very hard to be sort of considered to be that right wing back, because I think, remember what's happening on the left-hand side, right? I mean, how patient has Ben Chilwell had to be, because Marcos Alonso for a long time was there. He sat on the bench, didn't say anything, all of a sudden started playing well, showed Thomas Tuchel that he belongs. And now he's won himself a starting spot there. And Reece James today, I mean, that's a big shout for Thomas Tuchel. I don't think he's dropping him anytime soon.
I had to mention Reece James first, Janusz, obviously because of those 2 goals. But you mentioned earlier, just breaking down that Newcastle defence, what a pass it was from Jorginho on a goal that ended up being offside from Ziyech. And just everything he did, he's so trustworthy from the penalty spot. He brings so much to this Chelsea team, doesn't he?
Yeah, and the crazy thing about that is that in the first half, Chelsea did not look well, but one player, and that was Jorginho. I mean, it was incredible how, kind of sitting deep and running the game there were just no takers. Nobody wanted to play with him, right? Because they did have the difficulties, as I mentioned, of getting behind, but he was trying all by himself to change that as well. Yeah, he is an incredible player. We're going to find out shortly who the best player in the world is. I mean, it's between him and Robert Lewandowski. Of course, if you believe in the leaked documents, about that, and even Zibi Boniek kind of putting it out there that Lewandowski has wanted. I mean, there's no winners, no losers in this one, right? Because Jorginho has been incredible for Chelsea. We all know what he did together with Italy in the summer in European Championships as well. How far have we come, right? When Maurizio Sarri came over, and everybody at Chelsea, including their fans, are wondering, if he can even play football. I remember, didn't get a lot of praise. It's been criticized, really. I think just as he came over to England, but his adjustment was tremendous, and that's what great players do. They adjust very quickly.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.